Welcome to the Own Your Best Life podcast. I'm May Emson, your host, leadership and mindset coach. Here, we talk all things spiritual, mindset, business, leadership, and wellness for the modern seeker who wants to align their life with purpose and inspiration. We'll cover career changes, stress management, meditation, energy, intuition, and more. Each episode holds spiritual and practical tools to help you live a life of your wildest dreams without getting burnt out along the way. Ready to live a life on your own terms? This is the Own Your Best Life podcast. Welcome, friends, to episode number 92 of the Own Your Best Life podcast. When you begin to stretch yourself to do things in new and different ways, it often feels like your relationships get in the way. What if people don't support you and your new ways of being and thinking? What if people don't seem to understand what you need and desire? And what if other people are even openly critical about how much time you're spending on your dreams and desires instead of on them and what they care about? So managing your time, your results, your business, and your health are all related to relationships. But the most important relationship is that with yourself. And today we're going to dive into how to be better at relationships, starting with you. So the funny thing about relationships, as I was thinking about this podcast and how to kind of articulate all of these learnings around relationships, is that we don't really know what it is we want out of them. We don't spend much time thinking about relationships, but we do spend a lot of time thinking about how we want other people to be, what they need to do, and how they're making us feel. And we don't see that even this situation is within a relationship. While there are two people, you and me, there are many thoughts, opinions, and concerns coming from both people. There is the you that I think you are based on what I am perceiving and seeing. There is the me that I think I am based upon what I am thinking and perceiving. There's the me that you think I am based upon what you are thinking and perceiving. And there's the you that you think you are based on what you are thinking and perceiving. So there's at least 4 versions of us within a 2-person relationship happening at all times. And at the root, not only do we not know what filters and perceptions are coming into play, we are also not actively deciding what we want to show up of ourselves in our relationships with others. We don't know who we want to be and that we could bring the best part of ourselves to the relationship. We often think about how romantic relationships, for example, fade over time. And when you understand what happens, it's very clear why that happens. In the beginning, we are really intentional about who we want to be in the relationship. We want to be a good date, a good partner, funny, smart, kind, loving, attractive. We do things to show up in this way. We are active participants to make this happen. Yet when relationships carry on for a longer period of time, what happens? We stop being so intentional. We have a full day of work and of obligations, and instead of coming up with how we want to show up as ourselves to our partners when we see them, we just show up as we are. And sometimes as we are is this leftover side of us that we're bringing to our home lives and to our partners and to the people that we care about most. And we try so hard in many aspects of our lives to be the best versions of ourselves, but we forget to do that with our relationships, and we especially forget to do this with ourselves as well. We think very carefully about how we want to deliver feedback, how we want to persuade and influence and win other people over at work, and then we don't do the same for ourselves. When you think about what you do when you don't think you've done your best, how are you? And in many cases, people are hypercritical. We shame ourselves when things don't go the way we want them to go. We say to ourselves things we would never say to other people. And the caveat is, until one day we do. So I think that as much as we'd like to believe that this has no impact, I'm just hard on me and I'm not hard on anyone else, at some point you will start to see how this seeps out into your relationships. And if you don't really love being on the receiving end of that kind of verbal talk and that inner voice, then this is the work. And this is why we have to be able to hold ourselves to that same standard in our relationships that we want to have in the rest of our lives. It drives everything. Even if you think your life is pretty good, there is an exponential level of freedom and joy you can feel when you tend to your relationships with the same level of energy and commitment that you hold for your biggest goals and your biggest dreams. Think about it. You are the one that shows up to do the work. You are the one that needs to solve the problems. You are the one who has to respond to your teams, your managers, your friends, and family members. This is one job you cannot outsource. And this is the one job you also don't want to outsource. This is the job of being you. Not just the accidental you, but the thoughtful, interested, and engaged you. The one who is resourceful and the one who leads. And the thoughts and the beliefs that you put into your brain on a daily basis end up shaping your outer world. And when I began to feel that I wasn't utilizing my gifts in the world many years ago and having the impact on the world that I wanted, it was at a time when I realized that I didn't even truly know who I was anymore. And we all have these moments where we look ourselves in the mirror and we say, I thought I would be further along by now, or I don't recognize who this person is, or this person looks older than I feel on the inside. We think that life just unfolds and we find ourselves along the way, when in reality, life does unfold, but we create ourselves along the way. And if you haven't taken the time to get to know yourself, and it's been a while, you're going to have a hard time improving your marriage. You're going to have a hard time improving your followership at work and your circle of close and intimate relationships. Being better at relationships with other people. Start with being better at being you. What brings you joy? What do you fear? And where in your life are you not being yourself? And what do you enjoy doing in your spare time? How do you like to give and receive love? And the more we understand ourselves and the more awareness that we bring to our common thoughts, concerns, our hopes and dreams, the more we realize that other people are also operating in their own bubbles, their own energetic spheres of thoughts, concerns, hopes, and dreams. We assume nothing, and we ask everything. Even if you feel like you've known someone for a long time, ask them questions as if it was the first time you met them. It's going to feel weird. And you can preface it by saying that. I know this might sound weird, but I want to try this thing. I encourage you to try this at your next date night with your partner, or maybe the next time you have some time alone with your kids, maybe even at a team building with your coworkers or your friends and family. And people will surprise you with answers you may not expect. And so let people tell you what you may have assumed, and you're going to know with greater certainty exactly what they want most in this world and how to help them have those things. And when we show up in the relationship to serve, which is what we're doing when we're saying, I want to know more about you and how to help you achieve your goals and feel cared for and supported along the way, with that kind of mentality of helping and giving people what they need and desire, there's almost no way the relationship will not improve. And if it doesn't improve with that person, I guarantee you it will improve with someone else. Imagine you met someone who intimately knew your deepest desires and fears. Someone who knew what you like to do in your spare time, what gives you meaning in life. Imagine that person knew you love to spend time with people above all else. And instead of buying gifts for you, booked a trip with you instead. Or maybe they know you love little acts of service and they show up with a meal, and they invite you over for dinner. Or they take your kids off your hands for a few hours, or help run errands so you don't have to. You would absolutely fall in love with this person. And whether or not this is romantic love, you would appreciate them at least to a whole other level. And it is not what you think about things being right or wrong or good or bad. It's about getting inside their mind and their brain to understand what is happening so you can relate to them from a deeper level without judgment. And this is the exact same thing you do with yourself first. No judgment. Just observe, ask questions, and seek to understand. Recently, I had done a one-day silent retreat, and one of the things I noticed was that I had common thought patterns. It was like I got to see all these different rooms of the house that was me. I could see what areas I haven't explored, and most importantly, I became really comfortable with myself. A deep sense of well-being ended up being so pervasive afterwards, a sense that there is no one else to be but me. And that is an extremely freeing feeling. And this is why I'm such a big advocate for examining your thinking and getting still enough to witness common behaviors, patterns, and habits. We don't even realize sometimes that we are unintentionally showing up in our relationships and with ourselves. We get so caught up in the business of our lives and the doing that we don't do what is most important, which is connecting with ourselves and with others. And we don't even know what it looks like anymore sometimes to connect with other people. We just do the same thing we always do instead of thinking, well, what do we think is actually desired or needed or wanted? And what would be the most fun or the most interesting or the most thoughtful here? And I often work with clients who are struggling with relationships or wanting to take them to the next level. And the funny thing is that these people are so kind and loving towards others, yet they still struggle with loving themselves. And when you reflect upon it even more, they start to see that while there is an outward loving kindness, it's not always felt. And it's what they think they should do instead of who they just are. And that's the difference that makes a difference. That's what takes the same action that a person next to you does and the action you do 10 times further. And this is working with energy. And a lot of energy is that energetic alignment of knowing not just who you are and what you believe and how you feel, but deep down believing that this is who you are, that this is the way you really want to show up. And it means something. And it means something to you to connect with them. People feel that. It can be the passing person that you just smile at or you say hello to, or even someone you have a 10-minute conversation with, and it doesn't need to be this long, drawn out, hours long, paying attention to every single person. But that deep quality of loving oneself ends up becoming so magnetic because then you end up seeing that you are lovable. And then you want to connect with all the other people in the world and treat them the same way you treat yourself. And so we're teaching other people the way that we want to be treated. And I don't think people realize sometimes that they have a hand in how the world responds to them and how people respond to them and how you can hold standards for yourself of how you respond to you that other people start to emulate. And people can feel authenticity from miles away. I remember a consulting engagement, and I told someone that. I was like, just so you know, people know how you feel, even if you don't say it. If you don't like a person, they're going to feel it. They're going to realize something is off. And we don't talk about that when we talk about building rapport or influence and how do we develop relationships. But I really think that one of the things we have to get behind are the fundamental North Star that's guiding you. It's that inner compass. It's your spiritual energy. And what I mean by that is what you believe has meaning and purpose to you. What quality of person do you want to be in this world every single day as you're doing everyday things and as you're doing fabulous and exciting and big goal kind of things? And when you know that your energy is deep, other people do too. And other people also know when your energy is just superficial. So I encourage you to think about some of these following questions that I'm going to share with you to get to know yourself on a deeper level if you want to truly be better at relationships. So here are some of these questions. First one is, what are your goals and your dreams? A lot of times we might have a hard time articulating what those are. So just take a stab at all of these. It's not necessarily going to be perfect, but even the act of saying, well, I don't know, has you realize, well, maybe a goal of mine is to know what my goals and dreams are. A lot of times I work with clients on that first step for a while, not because it's a waste of time and we must just get through it, but because when you start to articulate your goals and dreams much more specifically, and you really understand the context that you're operating, the reality, what would truly be success on your terms right now, and you think about redefining that, it sets the stage for a winning life, a life where you feel like you're rocking on all cylinders, even if not every day goes exactly the way that you thought it would. And so that clarity in goals and dreams cannot be underestimated as well. The other question is to ask yourself, what brings you joy? What brings you meaning? And maybe you haven't talked about that with yourself in a while. So think about things in your life. And in the last couple episodes, I had done a episode on creating a fulfilling life. And that's a lot about joy and what brings us joy, and getting deeper into understanding how we derive joy now may be different than the way we did in our 20s or when we were teenagers or in your 30s or 40s. These things change. Joy and meaning can change for you. Another question is, what is your biggest fear? This seems like an awkward question to ask someone or even yourself, but it's really helpful to know because our fear costs us a lot in our life. It costs us missed opportunities, it costs us missed connections, it costs us our health. It might even end up costing you your life, and it might cost someone else's life. So I would not underestimate really understanding what fears you have. The next one is around, who are your closest friends? Again, when we think about relationships, we sometimes forget to articulate who do we want to have relationships with, or who have we defined as our closest friends. And that might shift for you year over year. And it's a good exercise to be a little bit more thoughtful about the circle that you keep and the people that you actively want to work towards improving relationships with. Then the next question is, what are you most proud of in your life? So having a sense of what gives you a sense of pride or achievement, and reminding yourself that you have done so much. The next one is, who are you at your best? And the following one is, who are you when you're not at your best? So being onto yourself and understanding the emotional states that you can get into when you're feeling like you're at your best versus the ones when you're not at your best will really help you identify and be able to talk to other people in different ways when you're not at your best or when you are at your best. And it just brings that level of self-awareness to help you ensure that sometimes when you're not at your best, you don't just bring that along for the ride and everyone else gets to enjoy it too. But you're kind of aware and you can state it and you can say, hey, I'm feeling like this and that. I don't think I'm at my best right now because of X, Y, and Z. Can you give me a little bit of grace here? Or just, I'm having a little bit of need to have some time to myself and don't want to kind of participate in these things or engage in these ways until I'm feeling a little bit better. And then the next question is, what do you actually enjoy doing in your spare time? This kind of goes back to the joy and meaning, but it is helpful for us to identify where we want to spend our time. Happiness is derived from a sense of progress in your life towards the things you want, but it's also derived from doing with your time the things you want to do with your time. And if you don't feel like you have any spare time, it's going to be hard for you to get practice at thinking, well, what do I want to do in my spare time? So even if you're feeling overwhelmed and as time is not something you have a lot of spare time with and something that you can easily think through, I want you to put that exercise into play and make this a priority, because what you'll end up finding is as you start to marinate on these questions, you might realize, I need to work on my time because I'm not doing what I really want to do in my spare time. And when I work on those things, I'll actually have that kind of joy in my life too. And then the last one, how do you like to give and receive love? So again, another level of self-awareness about why sometimes you're unhappy about the way other people are giving you love, and realizing that you might also have your own biases for the way you want to give and receive love too. If you answer all of these, I would encourage you to ask these questions of the people in your life who you do want to get to know better. And you might want to start with intimate relationships where you already have established trust, like with a partner or some close friends, and just see what this reveals about them. And I guarantee that you will learn something that you didn't know before that will help you understand how to bring the best parts of yourself to this relationship. And I think that time is our most precious resource. We always want to get to know people better or feel like we've connected with them in the time that we've had. This is a really good way to do it. It will be one of the conversations you will never forget versus the, oh, how was your weekend? What things you've got going on? How was this? Did you watch this show? All of those are great, and it's good to connect in these ways too. But I promise you that you could take one of those conversations and sub it in for asking a few of these questions with someone that you really want to get to know better or you want to improve your relationships with, and it will be really impactful for you. So I guarantee that you're going to learn something. And I've done the same thing. So I know from firsthand experience that, the people sometimes you think you know best will surprise you. And I think that's an amazing thing. And that's what also keeps relationships alive and interesting. It does not have to be a common pattern for you that your relationships fade over time and that you end up losing friends or losing partners and feeling like nothing ever works out. So let me know how this goes for you and how your trust and your relationship with yourself deepens in the process. All right, so if you want to learn more about these topics and how you can experience this in your own life, you can schedule a free coaching consultation today. No matter what success means to you, coaching will help you get there faster and more sustainably. We will work towards results in every area of your life. Time management, spending more time on what's most important, creating a mix of work and personal life that is sustainable, career and business, deciding what you want next and how to achieve it at a level that you are proud of, and whether it is more flexibility, purpose, or deciding to start your own business. We will talk about all of these things. Energy management, improving your physical, mental, and emotional and spiritual health so you build confidence in designing your own life. And if you've got some changes you want support in thinking through, you can book your free consultation at www.mayemson.com/contact today. So that's it, my friends. Thank you so much for joining me this week, and I will see you next time. Thanks so much for joining us this week on Own Your Best Life. Make sure to subscribe to the show on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts so that you'll never miss a show. And while you're at it, can you please rate and review on iTunes? I would so appreciate it. Share it with a friend, take a screenshot of it, and tag @MayEmson. This helps continue to get the word out. For more show notes and resources, check out www.mayemson.com. It'll have all the links to everything you heard here today. Thanks so much for listening. It's time to own your best life.